Today I'll be discussing how nuclear waste causes harm to the environment and to other factors that aren't really considered over until it actually happens. The main type of nuclear waste I'll be talking about will be the high level waste. There are lower levels, but for me the major concern is the high level one. High level waste is produced from uranium fueled in a nuclear reactor, which can only be found there. It's due to prolonged exposure and usage to make electricity for us humans. It's a waste. It's in a quick sense of terms. Imagine when you start a fire, the ashes that come from the fire. This toxic waste is due to that, to the overuse in nuclear energy. In chemical terms, it's quoted to be by the Nuclear Association of Waste and Management, HLW, contains fission products and transuranic elements generated in the reactor core. It's highly radioactive and hot due to decay, so requires cooling and shielding. Nuclear radiation affects water, atmosphere, soil, and health of any organic creature, so that includes as well as plants and anything that's basically living. Stones are contaminated, but they're not affected towards this. This makes the area completely uninhabitable, such as the nuclear meltdown in Chernobyl. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Chernobyl Diaries. Anybody here? No. So due to this, there was a nuclear meltdown in 1986, requiring everyone to evacuate their city, leaving everything in their possessions at homes. And since everyone wasn't able to require a gas mask, well, actually that wouldn't even help you because radiation also affects your skin, causing tumors, cancers, and or maybe just even killing you, or maybe just causing you to be in a deathly ill state, included being vomiting, high sweats, fevers over about 108. So basically, that's the major red warning zone of any high fever. Although some plants and animals are more resistant to the damage, most of them actually died immediately after. Pine trees, for some reason, were the first ones to die and decay. Others would just have, now over the years, we developed some certain mutations, such as a high tolerance to having more higher tolerance to actual diseases, which to me it doesn't sound exactly like a good thing that you have to require some actual radiation. It's almost like getting a superpower, but in return you lose baldness, lose a lot of your internal organs. Also it also killed basically the entire rodent population as well. And knowing that everyone here, that rodents have been known to carry diseases and spread it as well, and having an extreme immune system, the only things that were able to be found were only the roaches, such as the old quote that roaches will outlive us all. Repairing and cleansing any of these areas takes numerous years and billions of dollars of taxpayers' money just to repair something that was caused by us. Nuclear radiation isn't natural, so it takes, and especially since this is the high level range, it takes hundreds of, estimated to the quantity, it took 24,000 years for it to inevitably fade away. Nuclear radiation does fade away, but it does take such a long time that it just becomes such a hassle to contain it or have anyone from being exposed to it, especially if you're actually cleaning the area from its major spills or anything that's been highly contaminated. If any of the workers have been exposed or have a tear in their suits, it will inevitably either kill them or also put them in the deathly state of being very ill, or cause something in the future years until it actually develops in. Either hazmat suits protects you to a certain level, but it has been known to be kind of dicey if you're not fully prepared or fully equipped, or just not being careful, or sometimes you're just plain unlucky. Such as the decontamination of but the blast radius of any nuclear radiation is considerably just. You're never in a safe zone whenever a nuclear reactor happens. I mean, the max distance that's been hit is 20 miles, and that was from the Chernobyl one. But even that was only ground-wise. Actual atmosphere that reaches up to 50, or actually could go up to 60. But inevitably, it's just an uninhabitable. It's unsafe. Isn't even close to the terms of what happens during this. Animals as well have, and also the fauna of any of these environments have been affected toward just either the waters being completely unsanitary and just either creating a nasty bile from it. The fishes inside have all just ended up dying and just popping up to just decaying as well. The oceans and lakes nearby just end up swarming with all these carcasses, which end up getting eaten by as well as seagulls, which end up also carrying either this radiation with them or end up dying as well from eating this. There have been multiple ways to try to respond to this, such as the World Nuclear Management trying to detain or create new ways to dispose of this. But many ways have been found that either it leaks, such as they try to bury it into a concrete barrier the walls are about 10 feet thick. But to let the radiation die away through trying to let it detain for about 10,000 years. But there have been some leaks, or there have been some errors made in trying to detain it. There's also been dumping into the ocean. That's been also been an extreme harm to the environment, since either any of the inhabitants either die or try to build a new mutation to counterbalance this new threat to them, to the ecosystem, but also includes radiation into their systems. So anything coming in contact with them also can get infected with any said illness. So coming into like a water. So any nearby residents that aren't even in the location could probably be teeming with some fish that became in contact with this water, and also spread it to their fish as well, which could spread it to their ecosystems or lifestyles, like to fishing or hunting. Nothing else is able to really survive these areas unless you've been prolonged to some serious exposure, which inevitably does build an immunity to it. But if you're only one of the few lucky dozens from thousands that actually survived or carried down this immunity, some people are able to tolerate it for some reason. Some people think it's genetically, maybe it's just their body reacting it to a certain way, such as like some people who get flu and some people don't, much easier than others. So this becomes also a quality factor that a lot of scientists have been studying into, trying to resolve or trying to seem more safe or for their workers who are working into these contaminated areas. So the largest scale has been ever rated from a nuclear reactor. Was rated 7 in Japan when there was oil when they were carrying a lethal batch of toxic waste in barrels in a cargo truck to take it to another secure area to dispose of it. But unfortunately, the truck ended up in a accident that spilled all this waste, and the entire area, which was up to 30 miles, including a little small village to the side, that ended up into the exposure of this area. Everything as well as it did in the incident of Chernobyl also ended up dying. Same effects, same results, and making anything in this same area just completely unsafe, and just to anybody's well mind, to anybody's real help. So in the end, I do believe that this catastrophe could be easily avoided to anyone who has to have the efforts to secure this area and also permanently to prevent any of these catastrophes from ever happening again. Hopefully in the future we will actually come to an agreement toward either replacing these nuclear reactors or a way to permanently no longer allow these catastrophes to happen again. That is all. Let's step this together.
It's okay. Eric, what'd you think?
I thought overall it was a good speech. It was an interesting topic. I would have never thought of doing something like that. When I say, or I think we should try to slow down when speaking. I know it's kind of a nervous thing, and I do the same thing. I start out confident, and then I slowly start to speed up throughout my speech. Don't be scared to look at your notes. I felt like sometimes you were too confident when you were looking at your notes, and you looked too long, and other times you didn't look enough. So I would try to regulate that. It seems like you're knowledgeable about the topic, and you're interested in it. Now I am too. Try to relax more, which everyone needs to work on. Work on your organization and try to keep the time in mind.
Okay. I thought the topic was clearly identified. I know that you've got a pretty good thesis statement here. There's not really an organizational structure that I could discern. There's no preview that's noticeable. I heard one place where there was a little bit of transition material. The rest of the time, it just felt like we were going from random piece of information to another random piece of information. If I was going to go back on this and give you advice about what to do, I'd say instead of making it so generic about what the consequences of a nuclear disaster are or what are some of the other problems with radiation, I think this might be a good place to talk about Chernobyl, which is part of your speech. Let's talk about what happened in Chernobyl and what the short and the long-term effects were, because you've got some information about that you're presenting, and then at the end you could say, and then this is an illustration of the dangers that we face from the use of nuclear power. And I think you would have something that's still effective for a more generic issue about nuclear energy, but one that would probably be a little bit more organized and focused, because you're just all over the place with information. You're back and forth between ideas, and I don't know how any of it ties together, and I think that that's problematic. I noticed that Eric didn't comment on the visual aids, and then I realized why he didn't comment on the visual aids, because there weren't any of them, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem for you. I think you need to cite your sources. I didn't hear any source citations in your presentation. You sound like you're interested in the subject. You've done some research, but it's not being integrated into the presentation the way that we talked about doing it, and I think that's a problem. I'd probably agree with a lot of the things Eric said about delivery. Don't be afraid of looking at your notes if you need the information. Pace yourself a little bit. I know that you weren't getting time signals, so maybe that was a little bit confusing to you, but since you were supposed to have practiced it multiple times before you got here, it should be something that occurs a little bit more naturally, and you shouldn't have to worry too much about the time signals at this point. All right, thank you.